are on air, I believe. Welcome to my Patreon video call. If you guys are seeing this on YouTube and you want to be a part of this, then become a patron at Patreon, Jason Brubaker, patreon.com/Jason Brubaker. And a $5 and up, and you'll be invited to this exclusive video call. So anyway, welcome you guys. We've been kind of talking about time management, working a regular job and then doing the comics and kind of trying to figure that out as far as like making comics the full-time thing, if that's the direction you're going. And so that's what we're in the middle of talking right now. So yeah, welcome everybody.
Thank you, brother.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And everyone here pretty much does comics or animation. Am I right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. Probably everyone does comics, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone not do comics?
Mhm.
No? Okay. Well, then there's the easy subjects to talk about. So Anthony, why don't you start us with your thoughts about the time management and where you're at with time management because you just got a full-time job and you're trying to do your comics as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to just get everybody's thoughts about like scheduling. I think the hardest thing that I've had to learn was how to stick to a schedule. I always just keep telling it's like, how do you do what you do? Just how do you make the comic book? How does it? It's very slow, and if you have a full-time job, it's just a very slow thing. So it's just patience and sticking to your schedule, being disciplined and sticking to your schedule. I know it sounds real easy, and it's like you can't just start. If you were like me, where I years of not. Just doing whatever I wanted to do for the day, not planning out the day, and just sort of getting some drawing in, or maybe doing too much in one day. Like I'll do 12-hour days or something like that. So it's just like not knowing when to stop, when to eat. It's good to stick to the schedule and take a year to to really practice that. So it's I think it would just be that whole topic and get everybody's idea about scheduling, about sticking to a schedule, how to stick to a schedule, how's it worked out for you, so.
Well, I'll just throw out the things I've said a lot in the past. I think getting married and having kids is the thing that actually helped me to start getting things done, because, and it's not like that's the answer, but what it did is it made me realize how limited my time was and how I had to schedule things. And before that, it was just like, I'll do this. I'll hang out. I'll go to the beach when I was by the beach, and it was just like it was surprising if I would get anything done when I wasn't working, And so all through my 20s, it was more about just like enjoying things, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I didn't get any. Like when I was in my teens, I got a lot done, and then I got a full-time job, and then I kind of was like let go of all the responsibilities outside of the job. The job became my schedule, and then outside of that it was nothing. And then I couldn't get anything done for like 10 years, And then I started kind of having some new goals again. I started realizing I want to get some things done. And I got married around that time, and started realizing like, okay, if I want to actually do this, I need to practice it like I did when I was a teenager, when I was really trying to get those first jobs, And so I just really started focusing certain times of the day to it. When I had kids, it was like even harder. Not harder, but it made me realize that even more. And I got to the point, and then I started getting full-time jobs, not just freelance jobs. So there was a real rigid schedule and things that needed to be done every day at certain times. And that's when I started figuring out this whole time management thing a little better. And what I did was when everyone was in bed, I'd get up at 5, like about 4:45 in the morning, and I'd work for about 2 hours or an hour and a half to 2 hours before everybody else got up. And then people would get up at like 7, wake up my wife and kids and help with breakfast and take kids to school and then go into work. And that was so, so amazing for getting things done with like all the stuff going on in life. And I think I was the most productive at that time. And that was when there was the most stress on me, the most burdens on me. My wife was going through postpartum depression too. So it was just like a lot of like I just need to do all these things, and I need to be the man I need to be. And the only time I can get in is this alone time when everyone else is knocked out.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'll sacrifice my sleep because I want to get this stuff done.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that waking up in the morning has been such a great thing, I think, especially if it's not your full-time job. Now I have the advantage of I do everything else, and then I go in and spend the whole day working on comics. And that's a different story. That's a different problem because, your brain plays tricks on you in different ways then, because you're like, oh, I have a whole day. And so then you end up getting nothing done because you think you have the whole day. So it's a different thing. But that balancing complicated life and work and kids and getting comics done, it's almost like the more stuff can get thrown on your plate to where it forces you to be in a schedule, the better, at least for a moment in your life.
Yeah, I was going to say like that marriage, marriage really showed, because at the beginning it was like I had quit like a full-time job, and I went right into just creating comics. I thought it was going to be so easy. And my wife was very, very encouraging. And then like about 2 years, it was about a little under that. And it sort of exhausted her to the point where like, what are you doing? And so it kind of pushed me to like venture out and really focus. So it's like, it was very tough. And then for me to realize that, like, because you're in this sort of drama queen mode in the beginning where you're just like, no, I need to spend all my time on it. I need to, like this actor, it's like I need to just focus on the craft. I need to put everything here. I need to watch a bunch of movies. I need to, anyway. So spend all my time doing this, and it's like, no, you don't. It's like you like if you can make if you just stick to that schedule, get up on time when you're supposed to, like take it. If you just, I think one of the big things was take yourself seriously, and I had to think about that for a while, like taking yourself seriously. And just looking at my schedule or looking at what I was doing, I wasn't taking anything seriously. And so that really like it just takes a while for it to sort of sink in that you're not you're exhausting people, you're exhausting yourself, you're killing yourself, you're like
and that's a good point. Like the people in your lives, you can really push them away if you keep focusing on what you want, and it's like you have to balance it. And I hate using that word, but you have to, because it's not like you live in this perfect place of balance. It's just that you have to, you have to take care of other people too, and their needs should come first in order to have a family and a life that people love each other. Right. And so you can be the solo artist that's all about you, and push everyone else away. And a lot of artists do that, and then they wonder why they're miserable and happy and alone with 1 million followers, but for me, it was like, I want art. I love art, and I love making comics and telling stories. But if it means destroying everything in my life, then I don't think it's good for me, and I don't want it. And there was a point after Remind that's why I took that year off after Remind was done, just because I just felt like I was seeing too many negative consequences of me doing what I was doing. And it was affecting everyone bad. And so I was like, okay, I need to just focus on work, taking care of the family, taking care of my wife, my kids, bringing money in and taking care of bills, making sure we're not going into debt, and just trying to be what I need to be to these people in my life. And it was a really good eye opener too, because it made me realize that taking a break is really important. It's like built into nature, like rest. It's just built into us.
Right.
We have to sleep. You have to do things, and then you have to take breaks, and just like whatever. So, so I kind of want to almost have that kind of schedule where after doing so many years of work, almost like taking a break from one kind of work and do something else, and for me, it would be comics. So what would that look like? I don't really know, but I think it's kind of another factor in doing it for a long term, and not destroying everything and leaving a wake of destruction because I want to make comics.
Right. I know you still need people, still need community, still need, because all those things, it's like some people, they'll marry, they'll get in, you see around in the world, like people look at everybody as like a burden, like they're in their way.
Yeah.
And so how do you fight that? How do you do that? Well, it's like, it's just, lost my thought. Anyways, but
well,
I think we should.
That thought process is kind of taught in universities, like art colleges and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've had some interns come and work with me, and they're just like, there's so many of the artists have that mindset, and they know it, and they tell other people they have to have that like self-focused, sacrifice everything to make art work mindset in order to be successful. Like that's kind of what's bred.
Right.
And it's just like, if you really want to be that artist who commits suicide, go for it.
Right. Yeah. And it's like they like I remember hearing I was listening to this guy talk about the life of Carrie Fisher and how like kind of warped the relationship with her parents were and how like they would look at the drama, the almost like it was like the self-created drama in their life that they were like that it was just the mom would like Carrie Fisher would like talk to her, and the mom would always tell her, well, at least now you have material for your next story. Or Carrie Fisher would say that to her daughter or something like that. Like there was this warped view of like, okay, so just destroy your life, and now look, now you have a story. Now you have like all these different this drama, these new ideas now instead of it's So anyways, it's this fake drama that people create in their life that they think that's the way that's the way of the world. The world is now fake drama. Just create problems, And I remember just reading that, like I think there was like a part in the book Saga by Brian K. Vaughan where the one of the characters in there was reading a story to one of the children, and he was saying now, what is it? They followed all the rules. They made sure, and then they brought the kingdom back together, or something like that. And then at the end of it, he says, "Now break all the rules and go have an adventure." And so that was just it's so like kind of like just kind of warped. It's sort of like you have to know the rules and then break the rules to have an adventure. I was thinking like, no, you have to. It's the adventure is in following and trying to figure out how to follow the rules and apply the rules, and apply order. And learn how to apply order to your life. And it's this idea of fake drama, creating problems for yourself just so you can have materials, so you can have great stories. No, the story comes from like how to protect the order and make sure you're fighting against everything that could possibly come at you. That makes sense.
Interesting.
It sounds like the story arc of every VH1 Behind the Music episode.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, there was an interesting documentary. I'm kind of saying the same thing, but there's an interesting documentary about Journey, that band Journey, and their lead singer died, and they found, I guess, a guy from the Philippines who sang exactly like the lead singer. I think the documentary is called Every Man's Journey or something like that. It sounds like a Christian publication, but anyway, it was a really good documentary about this Filipino guy becoming the lead singer of the band Journey. And at the very end, there was one of the musicians in the band. He basically said the exact same thing as the kids at the school are saying. but it was on film, and it was like, you got to sacrifice everything. You got to sacrifice your wife, your kids. Like, he was just straight serious about it. Like, if you want this, you're going to get rid of everything. You know, you're going to kill off everything, sacrifice it all. Everyone's going to leave you. You're going to be alone, you know? And it was like, wow, it's so just horrible.
Yeah.
But it also reminds me of, the other thing you said, Anthony, reminds me of this guy, this like ex-military guy named Jocko. You guys have probably heard of him. And he has this podcast, and he has this book about discipline, and how discipline, he says that discipline is freedom. If, you know, we want to have freedom by not being disciplined, but then our life becomes chaos. And if we are disciplined, then we find freedom, because we can do all these things we want to do, you know, and achieve all these things. And it opens up and unlocks a lot of doors. And I find that really fascinating. It's just hard to always be disciplined, you know. There's mornings you don't want to be disciplined.
Oh, no, yeah.
But,
Well,
absolutely. There's no time. Yeah, there's days you just don't want to get up and do it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, don't want to get out of bed.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just to chime in, just to let you guys know, hi, my name is Steve. I'm new to all you guys, so thank you. It's my last name depends on which way you want to call it, as cange or cange. I get it both ways.
Oh, I was trying to look up your stuff. I couldn't find you.
Oh no, it's I'm s.kanji at Instagram, and Cure for Utopia is my book. It's cureforutopia.com. You can just find it right there, and there's links to everything across there. Just a little background on me. I've been trying to do this. Well, not trying to do it. I wrote this story about 30-something years ago. And I decided, you know what? Enough was enough. Let me just get it done. But like Jason and a lot of you other guys, you know, get the family. You still got to have the income. You still got to have everything going. So my discipline of everything now is I get up early in the morning before work, like an hour before work, I do it. And then like Jason, I wait for everybody to go to sleep. And then I do it, because you have to have time for the kids, time for the wife, and then time for yourself. But this is something I've wanted to do for so long. And I was like, I don't want to be one of those people that, what if? I shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't want to be 60, 80 years old and be like, damn, I had all these great ideas, and now they're just sitting on a hard drive somewhere. Yeah. You know, so I applaud every last one of you in here, you know, for going for it, because, and especially in this community, we got to really help each other. You know, because even though like yesterday, Jason, I was inside your, you know, you had your little demo going on as you were going. I introduced myself in the chat, and there was like 3 other creators, and we started following each other. That's cool. Right. So it's this community really needs to help one another, because that's how we grow. And that's how we continue to keep moving forward. So it's great. I've looked up each and every one of you guys. So it's like, absolutely, you guys are doing a great thing. Great. I can't wait to get some of your books. I got Jason's. I need everybody else's. I got a whole collection of Jason's stuff. I'm still hunting that Remind #2, Jason.
The hardcover?
The hardcover. Yeah, I got the first one. I gotta have the hardcover. I can't just do the soft cover. I'm sorry.
Well, if you wait another couple years, I want to release it as a full hardcover of both books, and maybe even add a little bit more to it. But it's just it's timing, you know, like.
No, it is. It's
how do I do it?
It's all about timing, and it's all about, you know, and you know, I just want to pick your brains about certain things while we talk. I know we're gonna go on tangents and go random here and there, but as far as this timing situation, you got to find the time. And like you said, it's a disciplinary thing, especially if you have a family and you have to take care of them. You know, my 9 to 5 sometimes isn't 9 to 5. And when I get home, you know, it's like I'm tired, I'm exhausted. I also try to keep up with my health, you know, and make sure that I'm healthy or work out. So you got to find time for all of this stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, I really want to get this book done. It's almost like, for me, it's almost like breathing. Like I have to do it. Like if I don't do it, And I've gotten into arguments about it. Me and the wife have gotten into it, about it, but it's something that I have to do. Whether I sell one book or I sell millions of copies, it's just something for me I have to get done.
Well, it sounds like you're going about it the right way, like doing it in a way that doesn't hurt anyone around you, as like a wife and kids doing it when they're sleeping. You're just sacrificing your own sleep. You're not sacrificing them.
Right.
And I think that's the right way to go about it in your situation.
Absolutely. It's something you have to do. And like you said, even if you were single, you should definitely find some kind of discipline in everything that you're doing. Like for me, Friday nights are the worst for me because I'm literally up 24 hours. I get up 5:30 in the morning to go to work. To do work on the book a little bit, then go to work. And then, you do the family thing. And then when everybody's sleeping, I don't go to bed till almost 5 o'clock in the morning again. So I'm literally up like 24 hours. And then like my son will wake me up by like 8 o'clock in the morning. So I might get maybe 4 hours of sleep, but it's definitely something. If you want it, you got to realize what you're willing to sacrifice. Yeah. Not saying the whole family needs to sacrifice like the rock and roll star that you was talking about, but it's just something that you're willing to sacrifice. And for me, it's just a little bit of sleep.
Yeah, and it's really not bad. I mean, like we were talking about earlier before the stream, it's like life's hard in general. Like everything's hard. Everything of value takes work, and I totally lost my train of thought. So, but anyway, but
going around.
Yeah.
No, but Jason, not to cut you off, but now that I got you live and actually speaking to you, like your story really motivated me. Okay. Like I can't even remember when and where I fell into finding you, but like I just followed you and I purchased your book and I also purchased the how-to book that you created. It's somewhere over there. And Unnatural Talent. Mm-hmm. And I read it cover to cover, and it was just something that really motivated me and clicked with me. And I was like, you know what? Once I finished reading that book, that's when I was like, enough is enough. I'm going to get this done.
Yeah, that's great. Well, thank you, man. Appreciate that. Mike is saying, could you share the links on the chat? Like, you mean under like the YouTube video? Is that kind of what you're saying?
That's me. I mean, you guys were saying you looked up everybody, and I don't know how you did that.
If one of you guys, if one of you guys has looked up everybody, would you mind sending all those links to like posted in the Patreon video call link, and then I can actually grab that and put it into YouTube description. That way,
everybody could just put all their links, and then
that'd work too. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
it's easier.
It's a lot of work to find it all.
Right. Everybody in here could just post your stuff on that same thing, and then.
Are you talking about like Instagram links or Twitter or whatever?
Whatever you want for people to find you. Because especially since it'll be on YouTube. What, Jessica?
I was going to say, do we have the YouTube live link up? Because I was checking and I didn't see it.
I don't know. When I go like live, it like has a mind of its own. So yesterday I thought like I could see the comments, but it didn't show anything on YouTube, and then it did, and then so I just like let it go. YouTube does its thing, and then after a day, it seems like everything's working. So as far as YouTube and the links and everything.
Yeah, I was on YouTube yesterday with you guys, and it was blocking me for some strange reason.
Really?
I just said like simple little things like, hey, hi, and it said bye. And I was like, oh my God, what did I do?
Anthony was experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, that's what happened to me. I was like, what's going on? I'm like, I got your number. I'm just gonna text you the question.
Yeah.
Oh, that was you yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, Anthony, stop texting me.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry,
I like the ding sound. That's what I was doing.
So basically, you want it right in the Patreon in the comments area, right? You just right where you. All right, cool.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Then I can collect it all and put it together easily.
No problem.
I just got mine in there.
So I'm curious when you do wake up early, because I'm trying to implement that more in my day, but it's tough to wake up and feel awake enough to do like a really something hard like drawing or thumbnailing. So is that still when you guys do that segment, or do you save that where you need more of your brainstorm energy for later in the day, or what's kind of that best time to get that hard work done?
I think the earlier you can get on it, the better. Like, so, you know, take a shower, drink some coffee. If you do that, something to just like get you going, or maybe it's take a run or something, get the blood flowing. And then as soon as you can get to it, I think I read like some scientific studies where it's like your brain starts shutting down after so many decisions. And even like what shirt you're going to put on is a decision. So the more decisions you can do up front that are important, the better, because at a certain point, your brain stops. You stop making good decisions, and you use that battery up until you sleep. And so I read that after the fact, like after I did the whole thing with getting up early, but it was really like amazing how if I would wake up early and turn off and not have any distractions, not check email, not have phone texting me and stuff like that, just go straight to the computer. I had one focus, one goal, and that was it. How much I could get done, you know, if I knew I only had an hour and that was the only thing I was working on. It was amazing how much I would get done before going to work. And then the rest of the day, I'd be like, woohoo, you know, I've already done everything, guys. You know, it doesn't matter if I succeed at work or not. I've already done it. You know, I don't have to come home and figure out how to get a second wave of energy or a third or fifth wave of energy. And, you know, after I work and think and do things at work, my eyes are tired, my brain's tired. And so at night, you know, there's moments when I can have like, I can put the kids to bed and I'm on again. And I don't know why, but sometimes I can do that for like a month. But most of the times, if I want to be consistent, I can't rely on that. But I can rely on getting up and being focused in the morning. That's my experience. You know, I know everyone's bodies are different and stuff, but I do believe that after so many decisions, you start wearing out. Your batteries start running out for your decision-making capabilities. And there were some studies done on it too, where it's like, if you go outside and walk in nature, then it replenishes that too. It's some weird thing like that. But if you're like in the middle of the city, it doesn't replenish it. But there's something to do with like nature and rest that rejuvenates the ability to make decisions. And I mean, making comics is all decision making. So, you know, that's my experience, and from what I've read anyway. Anyone else?
It makes sense. The one time I woke up early, it was more than one, but
I mean,
have a thought and then just a blank slate.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, there's something else on my mind, and just I can focus on this.
Now, is there?
It's just getting.
It might, in your case, it might not. You might not have the reason to get up early too. Like for myself and Steve, it's like, well, when I was working on Remind, like that was the only time. And so if we didn't do it then we lost that chance. And so there was a real like excitement to get up early. Like you go to bed early because you're excited to get up early and see what you can do.
Yeah.
If you don't have that situation where you're being forced to do that, then I think it's going to be hard. Like even myself now, I can't get up early. Like, I mean, I get up early because I need to make breakfast for the kids, but there's no like real motivation for me to get up really early, because I know if I just get these things done at the beginning of the day, I'll have a big block of time to work on the things I want to work on. So because of the situation I'm in now, it's like that motivation's gone to get up early. So maybe your situation's, you know, you might need to tailor it to like, what are the things that you have and the things you need to do, and blocking out that time accordingly, you know?
Absolutely.
Like, so what's like your regular weekday look like, you know?
It's, yeah, and it's flexible because I don't work a job. This is my job, is
Yeah.
working on art and taking care of and putting out any other little fires around the house, and
Yeah, literally.
you know.
No, yeah.
So it is a lot harder to
Yeah. See, I think
be self-disciplined,
yeah,
get things done.
I think that's almost a harder situation because you do have a lot of time, but there's always distractions. There's always the other things pulling at your mind, so you don't have that the ability to do the hour or two of like really deep focus without any interruptions. And so there's a book called Deep Work that talks all about that, and I really
Thinking of that.
I look at work that way. Like, I've almost completely bought everything in that book. So
I haven't read it. I remember you mentioning it, and even just a thought has helped me really consider how to use my time.
Yeah.
And so turning the phone on do not disturb and putting it aside, and
yeah,
really trying to roll the dice of what the week throws at me, and trying to figure out what are those more productive times and what's a trend of, and trying to be more proactive rather than reactive. So knowing that, like, okay, I need to do XYZ this week.
Yeah.
Here's my block calendar. I can fit them in. It'll probably take about X amount of time, and really trying to plan ahead, but with the understanding that things might have to shift around. And I mean, really, the rule of thumb for me is if I can get it done sooner, it's more likely to get done. It's really just prioritizing it. And one thing I found has helped for me is, before I would schedule, like, I'm going to work on art 5 hours a day, and like, it doesn't matter what I do as long as I work 5 hours a day. And I found that I still didn't get a whole lot done. It wasn't until because I just found myself working on it, but not necessarily accomplishing much. So like, I spent my 5 hours working on art, but I was just redrawing this one line for 5 hours. So when I started planning out my schedule, saying I have 30 pages, I have to get 30 pages done in a month and a half. Or let's just do a page a day. I know I can tackle that. And it really, it made me, I think it was Jake Parker talking about, you need a product, not a project. And that was my product of the day, is what could I get done in that day? And it really put more tangible confines on what I was trying to get done, rather than just how much time I was trying to work at it.
Yeah.
And planning out, I'm going to need that cushion time in a few days, or a day worth of planning nothing, because stuff comes up and you're going to need that extra day. So, and that's helped a lot.
Yeah.
But, you have to be on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, for me, to answer your question, I prep like the night before, whether it's on paper or in my mind, what I want to work on, what page I'm working on. And in my head, I already know. So when I'm going to sleep, this is what I'm constantly thinking about right when I'm dozing off. So when I wake up and I'm like, okay, I'm groggy, I wash my face, take a shower, do what I got to do. I sit down, bang, it's already on there. I got everything set up already on the computer, because I have this much amount of time before I got to hit the road, fight traffic, get to work. So that's what helps me. And then on that Friday night going into Saturday morning, for me, there's more cushion because everybody's sleeping, so now I could do a couple of things at one time, so that's how I do it.
Yeah.
Kind of visualizing success.
Yeah. That's how I do. Like right now, it's all about visualizing. Like, I told somebody this before, and I'm not, I can't believe I'm saying this out loud, but a lot of times when I'm visualizing, when I go to sleep, like if I have a story in my head, like I have right now, I have like maybe 12 different scripts I finished over the last God knows how many years. And I was supposed to be helping somebody with films and this, that, and the other. Didn't work out that way, long story short. But I was like, hey, I'll turn all of these into comics. So I'm working on my first one right now. But how I do it is like I go to sleep and I pretend like in my head that I'm actually in an empty movie theater. And right when I doze off is when the movie starts. And my mind is so clear. And when I wake up with all these different ideas and this, that, and the other. I know sometimes it sounds nuts, but it works for me. I wake up and there's times my wife is like, oh my God. And I'll jump up and I'll just start writing something down just so I won't forget it, and she's like, oh, so right now it's like, I'm even working with something with my nephew right now. And it's my oldest nephew. He's in his 20s, but he's like, oh, can I do something with you? So it's like, great. It's like all these things that when we were younger, like I'm a big comic book collector. Like I've been collecting for 30 something years. And most kids that grew up collecting want to actually be in the business and want to draw and want to be like, Jason said, one of his big influences growing up was McFarlane. And, I was a big Todd McFarlane fan growing up, Jim Lee and these guys. And to see them branch off from Marvel and make their own was very inspiring. So for me, it's like now I want to be that. I want to try to bring up the next generation and see what we can do all together, and especially with the internet, we can branch out and just become something even bigger than anybody even expected, so.
Yeah. I like what you said about going to sleep and having the movie play. And I a lot of times with hard decisions, I'm like, I got to just sleep on it because I know my brain processes all the problems from the day. Yes. And you wake up and you're like, oh, this is simple.
Right, exactly.
Do this,
Yeah, it might come like a week later or something as well.
Right, exactly. It may come a week later. It may come 2 months later. It's gonna come, and it's gonna come. It's like slow motion's better than no motion. Yeah. And if you're able to get it done and do what you got to do, it's great. Like right now, I can't believe how far I've gotten. I use Clip Studio and it's laying out the pages for me. And I'm right now up to page 161.
Wow.
And I can't believe I'm even this far.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Thank you. I have no idea where I'm even going to go because it's supposed to stop around 200 something. But we'll see what happens.
And it just begun. It's like
right. But the greatest thing, I don't know what other programs you guys are using, and I don't mean to jump around, but like Clip Studio is a godsend for me because like not only was I able to lay out the pages and everything, but I didn't know that this program has a 3D binding portion to it where you can actually see the book as you're going. So you can actually flip the book and actually see what it's going to look like cover to cover. I mean, it may not look exactly like that when you go to print, but it's helped me so much because I'll turn the page and be like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be there. And that's not supposed to be there. And I can literally lay it out and see what it's supposed to be like. So it's been, and it's way cheaper than Photoshop. Yeah. So, and I caught it on a sale on Black Friday. So
I wanted to mention about what you were saying about, like prepping the night before.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of like what we do, just as every human being that they do is like, if they have to, they're finally going to they want to do this big thing. They want to do this project, whatever it is. It's like they have the habit of, wasting time. Like there's always a lot of prep. So you think of like the night before, you should have prepped the night before, not like, oh, you woke up and now it's like,
right
now you got to clean out the coffee maker. Now you got to clean these, whatever. Now you got to take out the trash. So you're doing all that stuff. And now you just wasted about a half hour, maybe an hour. So it's, but that's you in your mind. You are like, afraid. It's like it's almost like there's like a fear or something like that. Like, because you know that what the cost is. It's like, okay, so you're going to put a book out there, and I'm sure that Jason, I'm sure that anybody who put a book out there, the shame, and the humiliation that comes from people who just want to tear you down and want to like criticize and just do all that they can. Like, so I think that really there is a lot of shame and humiliation that we have to sort of like realize that that's going to come, that will come from this. When you put something of yourself out there, whether it's in a podcast or, you know, giving your opinion, talking about something, there's a lot of people won't do anything because they won't do any of that kind of stuff because, you know, there's a lot of shame and humiliation in it and a lot of fear. And so when you are prepping yourself the night before, that means that you are now, like, as soon as you get up, you are now going to start. And that right there, like, once you've gotten past that part, like once you've started that, it's like I think of it like as a cold shower. Like if you just stand under the freezing cold water, like that's like 50 degrees, like that's whatever the how cold it gets in your shower. If you just wait about 10 seconds, your body will adjust to the water and you will be able to stand under the water. And then, you know, you lather the soap and everything just be like, it'll just be normal. So it's that uncomfortable, you think about that uncomfortable 10 seconds and you apply that to the uncomfortable 10 weeks that you probably have to do before you cut and killed all the bad habits or something. So it's the mixture of that patience of waiting and seeing that, you know, how you've gotten from, let's say, like, are you seeing your progress? Are you seeing how much time now that you have and that you're putting this into? Because I was just thinking too, it was like, I just found out, like, what was it, about a year ago, I took my blood pressure and I had like hypertension. I was like 135 it was really high. Okay. And this all came from, like, I was working on seasons, working on my book. And like, I was I wasn't in this full-time job yet, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I needed to change things. I needed to change things around. And in the last couple of months, you know, I've taken little strides and taking my time and being more patient and, you know, and not driving so fast, like going to work, you know, and getting there and leaving on time. And, you know, anyways, I was just like, this long story short, I just took little steps at a time, and to not be so angry and not be so impatient and not be. Anyways, I've worked on that. Then I just got back about 2 weeks ago, about a week ago. I took my blood pressure again. Now it's like at a stable 120. You know, so it's just like, are you doing things to see your progress? Are you aware of it? How aware are you? And that, are you, you know, filling out something where you can actually feel like you're accomplished? You know, you actually feel like you're accomplished in something.
Absolutely.
You know, so get rid of the fear, you know, prep yourself and then start working, and then get over that 10-second, you know, where you're the cold water's on you and you hate this and, you know, take your time to get past that. But anyways, okay. Well, anyways, I said all that, and whatever you guys can glean from that.
Well, Anthony, I need a copy of Seasons. Definitely need my copy. I saw it and I was like, you and I were speaking yesterday.
Yeah.
And I definitely need my copy. I need mine signed.
Right.
Listen, I'm a big collector, so everybody's stuff I get, I put in a nice box because I'm like, I need that. But no, definitely, like,
Seasons.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's my copy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is I keep this next to me too. I always, whenever I'm feeling like not accomplished or something, or I don't feel like I've done anything, I don't know, I look back, I just open this book and I just start flipping through it right to the end, and I'm reading it and I'm going through it, seeing my art, because from the first page until the last, it doesn't look like so different, but I just look like I know what I'm doing by the end of it.
Oh no, definitely. It's all about keeping yourself motivated. Like, I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'll show you real quick. This is right in front of my area. Right. My poster, like literally right in front of me, is the poster that I got colored. A friend of mine did it. He still made me pay for it, but it's all right. It's all about motivating yourself and keeping yourself motivated, because if you don't, then your dream's gonna fall to the wayside. And like I said, this is why I congratulate Jason for doing what he did, because it takes a lot of heart to just say, you know what, I'm just gonna leave DreamWorks. I'm gonna leave this nice paying job, and it comes with all this other benefits, and I'm just gonna go for it. And it takes a lot, especially when you have a family. And I congratulate your wife even more than anything else. Oh my God. I could just picture telling my wife that, oh, hey, honey, guess what? I'm quitting this job I got to start comics. And she'll punch me into a coma.
I still don't know quite how I convinced her. But
no, but that's great though. That's amazing. And the quality that you come up with. And that's another thing I want to ask you, Jason, not to get off topic, but like right now I'm also shuffling, trying to figure out the whole publishing thing. Like, who do I go with to publish the book, who to print it out, you know, because I want mine to be good quality as well. You know, nice hardcover would be nice. How did you make the final decision with I mean, you did it back then, but like, let's fast forward till now. Are you still using the same company that you were using then to print out your books? Or
pretty much. I still use this company called Regent Publishing Services. Don't confuse it with Regent Printing. There's a Chinese printer called Regent Printing, which it's not them. It's more or less a print broker that has locations in America, and then they do all the communication with Chinese printers. You know. They're really good. They take on a lot of big clients. So like when I went in, I pushed my way in and was like, I want to meet with you guys to make sure you're legit. And they were printing like a Star Wars book that they were printing like 200,000 copies of it, you know? So they have huge clients, and I've kind of forged a relationship with one of the ladies there, and I really like them. I'm possibly going to use a different company for the last Sithra campaign if their prices are right, and if they can show me that they can do it exactly the same. So I'm just waiting to get like a dummy book from them and the quotes, because it's the company that Doug TenNapel uses right now, and it's here in American, like Georgia or something like that, one of those middle states. And
it's offset.
I'm sorry,
printing, right? Is it offset printing?
Well, that's the standard. That's like when you have the big machines, the big printing presses, and then the 4 colors, that's offset printing. Like nowadays there's a lot of digital printing presses that can do smaller print runs. And sometimes when you have print brokers, you know, they'll, depending on the size, that they won't tell you if you're doing offset or digital, but as long as the product looks right, they know all the technical stuff. So nowadays it's starting to blend a lot more, like digital and offset, I think. But I
heard, from what I'm hearing, like the quality just isn't as well when it's the digital and the offset.
It depends. Like there's a lot of different kinds of digital printing. Some, like the print on demand stuff, there's some of it's just the colors just muddy and awful. But there's certain presses, like this is all stuff we won't be able to easily figure out. Like you can't go to any press and say, I want it printed like this, and they'll have a different press than the other guy does. And so one of them will be a better print for glossy paper and color and black and white. So that's why you kind of got to get samples from these guys, and because you don't know what equipment they're using, you know, and you want to see their books, you want to see what they can do. And so I like Regent. They're just kind of hard to communicate with at first, especially if you're a small press, because they are a small publisher, because they have a lot of clients, and you know, sometimes it seems like you slip through the cracks. But what I would suggest doing is start by going to a bookstore and rummaging through all their books, graphic novels, and find one that's printed the way you want it to be printed. And it doesn't matter what the content is, as long as the paper, the binding, the cover, the cloth, whatever it is. Find everything that you love about a book, and it might be a couple books. Like I like the cover of this, I like the pages of this, you know.
Right.
Find it so that you can actually reference it, and so you can actually show it to people and printers. You know, in some cases, you'll send them those books and say, "I want exactly these things," and then, you know, they should be able to put together a dummy, which is like a blank book, and make sure that everything's going to be exactly like you said before you get too far, you know. And that's a real important step, though, because every printer is going to say, yeah, we specialize in everything, but they don't. They specialize in like one or two things. You know, each printer has its unique capabilities and features and qualities and specialties. So you really want to find the right kind of book, and then just find the printer that can make that and get the proof that that they can make it that way, you know. And then when you get the finished product, you'll have that book that gives you that same like happy feeling that you did when you found that book in the bookstore. You're like, yeah, this just feels right. There's something about it, you know. Like you can't just manufacture that out of your mind, you know. So get something tangible that you can look at and feel and compare. That's what I'd suggest starting out.
Well, the only other problem I also have is storage. I have no place to store these printed books. I live in an apartment, and it's like I've seen like the warehouse and stuff that you have going on, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have that kind of storage capacity.
Make it work.
Right. So I would end up having to either rent out a storage place to actually keep it there, or find somebody with a garage to help me out, you know, because I don't think I want to do the print on demand. Yeah. You know, I looked into it and it wasn't, you know, the idea is great. You know, I love the idea that, you know, somebody orders it, they print it for them, they send it out. I don't have to deal with it. But if I could find somebody who does that with great quality, that would be just awesome, you know? Yeah. But I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't search for print on demand. If you go to an offset printer and the better option is like a digital equivalent, then consider that. But I wouldn't go to a print on demand service, you know, because it's always going to be ease of use over quality.
But I mean, does anyone do that where they do like close to the digital, to the offsite printing, but it's like more of a on-demand type situation where they can just place the order and then they send it out? Because I haven't found anybody that does it. I've been looking, like I haven't found anyone. If anybody knows, please let me know.
I don't use print-on-demand services myself.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so plan B it is.
I would definitely focus on finding an offset printer.
Okay, good.
Like I said, there are going to be a lot of offset printers, especially these newer technology ones, like companies that are like keeping ahead of the game, that will have machines that can do smaller print runs and they'll be digital. But it's not going to be like a service like Amazon where they'll print it for you and ship it to a customer.
Right.
So it will just make it so that you can afford to print like 1,000 or 500 books instead of 5,000. You know.
Okay.
So what else was I going to say? As far as storage goes, you might consider just doing a campaign, like if you do a Kickstarter, where you just print like almost exactly what you sell on that campaign, like maybe 100 copies extra, something that you can store in your closet or something, you know? And that way you fulfill all the orders and then they're done, you know? So you just have to deal with it in the moment and then get it out. And because you can always at a later date, if you find those places to store books, or if you get a storage space and you want to go that direction after you've done a campaign, you can always expand and do that.
Okay.
But
after you do not to cut you off, after you do the campaign, and let's say you fulfill those orders and then you get more orders, now you just have to go back to the printers and say, hey, I need more. Well,
see, the thing is, print runs when it's offset, you know, you're gonna be dealing with 1,000 or more books.
Right.
So say you have a campaign and you raise 100, you have 500 orders. You'll want to find a printer that can do a lower volume. In your case, that is what I'm suggesting, like maybe 600 or 700 books. So you'll just have 100 or 200 left over. You can fulfill orders that got damaged or replace orders that got damaged, sell a couple at conventions, but it's enough that you don't have to have a warehouse to store it. And then once you run out, don't worry about it, because the best way to sell your next book is releasing a new book. Or I mean, the best way to sell your past book is to release a new book. So I stumbled into this by accident with Remind. Like I sold out of Remind 1, and I had to like fulfill these orders all the time, and I was never able to work on the book. And so I was like, fine, I'm just going to let it sell out, and then I'll just work on the book, and then I'll print them both at the same time when I do the second campaign. And that was the best decision I ever made, and it was because I was forced to do it. You know.
Yeah. I just want to get this right. So you're saying, okay, because I do have 3 ideas for it's more of a trilogy with this book. So if I do Cure for Utopia, and then I fulfill all my orders, work on the second book, and then do a campaign for the second book, and then try to get enough backing to print another batch of the first book.
Yeah.
Okay.
In an ideal world, that would be ideal, but it kind of is contingent on, you know, you having enough support as well.
No, absolutely. And
that's the deal with it all. You know, like if people aren't responding to it, then you always got to take a step back and go, okay, maybe I need to put it online as a webcomic for a couple of years. You know, like there's always going to be options.
No, definitely, definitely.
And but as far as getting a physical book, you know, people are really putting their money out there for that, especially first time publisher. You know, I mean, that's how I was, you know, like I never published any books really. And then suddenly I'm saying, hey, spend $25 for this graphic novel from a no-name author, you know? And so it's like there's somehow we got to build the trust in the fan base and the audience. And those books are kind of like, it's a nice confirmation that we've built something, but it's like how you can still do it before that, you know, like I had Remind online for 2 years before I ever printed anything. And I didn't even know if I'd print it. I didn't know if I'd go to an agent or a publisher. I had no plan. I just was not sure what to do. And so I started putting it out just to see if people would respond to it. And sure enough, people did, you know. So that's when the gears started turning for how do I take the next steps. So I want to like reiterate that too. It's like don't replace phase 1 with phase 2. You're thinking about phase 2 right now. Phase 1 is getting an awesome book done and building a fan base. That's Absolutely. The thing you should be focusing on only. Because there's going to be a lot of, maybe it'll take you a couple of years before you get to phase 2. Well, there's going to be a lot of different things and opportunities and websites and crowdsourcing things out there by the time you're ready to go to print.
Just get the product done.
Get the product done. When you have a product done, you can sell it, you can resell it, you can repackage it, you can resell it. Every 10 years, you can sell it again. You know, that's one of the things. I had a call with Scotty Young a year ago now, trying to ask him how I should go about my next books and stuff, and if I should do image or whatever. And he's like, the thing about once you get a book done, you can repackage it every like 5 years and make more money on it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can reprint it as a hardcover edition or an artist edition, or go to a different company and hit a whole new audience with it. You know, like if I put Remind out through Image Comics, it would hit a whole new audience. And that's what he was trying to convince me to do. But I just haven't pursued it really hard, obviously.
Isn't that like, but no, that as a collector, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's not a bad idea. Like Image is killing it right now. A lot of independent books I'm reading now more than anything else. And it's amazing. Some of these stories are just fascinating. Your stuff is great. Matter of fact, there's a book right now called that remind me so much of your stuff. It's called Ghost Tree. The artist is almost like yours.
Yeah.
Like if you could look them up, it remind me so much of your stuff. And I was like, wow, it's dope.
Ghost
dope
Tree.
Book. Ghost Tree, yeah. It reminds me a lot of your stuff.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So I have a question. So Jason, all your books that get fulfilled through Amazon and Barnes and Noble, how did you get them through those sites?
That's something that's like a phase 3 type question. Once I started selling a lot of copies of Remind 1, and it got on the American Library Association list like miraculously, and then I had the big campaign for Remind 2, and it made $100,000. And I started, what was it? I think it was after that campaign for Remind 2 that I raised all that money. Before the book was in print, I knew that I couldn't fulfill these orders myself very easily because I was getting a lot of orders at that time. Like I would have orders every week from Amazon and libraries, like random libraries sending me an order in a letter, you know, like we want 20 copies of your book, and it's a library distributor. And I'm like, how in the world did you guys get my information? You know, but whatever. And so there was and store orders, I was trying to fulfill those myself. And it just got overwhelming, like to where it's like, this is all I'm doing. I'm a fulfillment house. Yay, for 2 books, you know. And good problem to have, but I wanted to start working on the next thing. And I actually was trying to get a break from doing comics and anything. Like that was in the time when I was going into the period of like, I need a year off, you know? So I was at the WonderCon in California, and the guy next to me had comics. He had horror comics, and he's like, why don't you have a distributor? I'm like, I can't get into a distributor. He's like, well, I use a distributor. Let me hook you up with them. So he gave me the information for this guy who owns this distributor called SCB Distributors, which is a small independent indie distributor. And so I emailed him, said I knew his friend Frank, and I set up a time to go with their meetup with him. And I brought in my books, and I basically pitched him on the books and said, hey, I need someone to help me with this because I can't fulfill the orders fast enough. Every day I'm going to work, stopping by the post office with boxes of books, and I'm not getting any more work done. And he's like, that's the one thing I needed to hear. He's like, we get approached by like 12,000 publishers a year, and we pick up about 10 of them because most people just have books that they can fulfill in their own time, you know, like while they're watching TV. But if you're getting too many orders, then that's when we can take over. And so, but they also wanted like 4 books in my catalog, but I only had 2. But it just so happens that the one had a Xeric Grant Award and American Library Association Award. And so they're like, well, and you can't keep up on managing the orders. So I think this will work. So we signed like a 2-year contract, and that's how that happened. And because they're a small distributor, they have connections to the big distributors. So in other words, it can kind of get anywhere because they, you know, the big distributors trust the little distributors, instead of trying to deal with every publisher individually. So, so that happened kind of because of the situation. Like, I'm not sure what they would be like if I approached them now and said, if I was introducing myself and saying, hi, can you do my books? Because there's been nothing like really overwhelmingly positive about my book sales in the last couple of years. Like, it's been good, but nothing to nothing that would demand a distributor too much. But because I have that relationship with them, they continue distributing my books. But you have to kind of get past a certain point. You have to get past that tipping point before you can forge those kind of connections. And so that's why I say it's like phase 3. Like, even if you get a really good book done and it's 1 book, well, first of all, they want 4 books. if you know what I'm saying. If you get one book done, it's beautiful, and you're selling 10 copies, every month, it's just, that's not enough to make them care, So there's a lot of hurdles you have to pass and get and clear. And so that's why it's more about like executing, like getting the books done, building that audience, proving that you're here to stay, and putting them out by whatever channels you can at the time. And like if you're doing the right thing, like it will grow enough to where these new doors can open at the right time, but it would be a waste of time, and it would be frustrating to try to open those doors premature, so
interesting. Yeah. So, and you'd work with your printer to do a specific print run that would get distributed by the distributor. And so whatever books you have left on Amazon, Barnes & Noble right now, that's kind of all there is for this print run. Is that right?
For me, I gave Steve the advice based on what I saw his situation with his books. But what I was very hard-headed with my approach to where I said, I'm going to do a Kickstarter to raise funds, and I'm going to print a whole pile extra books, and I'm going to sell them myself. That was my approach. And miraculously, I sold them, and then I did another print run of Remind, and miraculously I sold those. And but it came with like having humongous pallets in my garage for years. I still have I rent out a space now up below my office that just has like $100,000 in books in it, from all my campaigns. My wife made me realize that, like, if that burns down, that's a lot of money. But it's like, because I want to play it the long game. Like if it takes me 10 years to sell my backlog of books, then so be it, at least I'll have things to sell, and I'll be able to keep generating money after the fact. But it does mean it's more work, and it's more like my distributor does not handle everything. They want only a certain amount of books in stock. Otherwise, they're going to charge me an arm and a leg for it. So most of my stuff I hold myself, and then I wait for my distributor to say, we need more books, and I'll drive some down to them. And and they handle like Amazon orders. They handle libraries and bookstores, but they don't handle personal orders. They don't really dabble much with the comic book stores, because sometimes comic stores will order from them, but they'll solicit through Diamond to get comic store orders. So then Diamond and them will be taking a cut, But they handle all that so that I don't have to think about it, because the timing of all that is just too much, and
yeah,
I would go insane. So really, the way I did it was like, I print a bunch of books. I take full responsibility for getting rid of them. They're going to sit in my garage until I find someone to buy it from me. And I'm just confident enough that I can sell it, because I love this book. And so I'm going to make you love it. You know what I'm saying? And if it takes me 10 years to sell these books, it's going to take me 10 years. And, like my print run of Remind, the soft covers, it's going to take me a long time to sell those, because I think I don't like that. I don't like that strategy that I took at that time. I was trying to hit the paperback mass media market, hit the perfect price points that the big publishers hit, that bookstores love. But the problem is, I'm not a big publisher. I'm an indie publisher. And so big bookstores, big distributors, they still don't care, even if it's the price points. And even a kid walking in off the street doesn't care, because it's not Spider-Man. So I'm doing the same amount of work to sell a comic for $10 as I am to sell a nice hardcover that actually sells itself. The hardcovers sold a lot easier than the soft covers, because they had a more value to them. So I have this big, humongous pile of softcover Remind books that I'm like, okay, this is going to take me a long time to get rid of them, but You know, it's kind of money sitting there. It's just, you know, maybe something I sell in the future will blow up, and I'll sell Hope Heiler Remind soft covers all of a sudden. I don't know. So, you know, there's mistakes I've made for sure.
But that's
So
a big
why
part of
not
the
go
process.
with a publisher then, if there's a lot of work involved self-publishing?
Say what? Say that again.
Why not go through an actual publisher to get your book published and have them distribute it?
Well,
that's a whole different side of
what we all want, right? Like the publisher to just take over.
Me.
I mean, you can't do that unless you prove it. You know, you got to prove that you're worthy of being published. So how do you do that? Well, you got to actually have something that blows everyone's minds the second they open it up. You got to have finished work so that they can see what you can do. You got to have a big following, possibly. You got to be a movie star. I don't know. You know, there's all these criterias that will make a publisher turn their head. But you and I,
so that's phase 4,
we
right?
don't fit those criteria. That's why we got to show people that we can fit those criteria. So maybe one day I'll take my stuff to a publisher, and they'll give me a deal that actually is good for me. But if I'm a nobody, they're going to give me probably a deal that's like, okay, you know. And I'm so like specific with how I want my stories to be told, and it's so like kind of out of the range of what a lot of things are that I see, that it's just like I would have to change so much to make a publisher be interested in my stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like I don't want to just be a freelancer to a publisher. That's what I feel like it would be. I want to make a story the way I think it should be told and said, and about the subjects I want to say. You know, publishers are so like, I was just talking to a friend of mine about who got a book deal, and he's like, every conversation is about, I should have a girl instead of a boy here, and I should have, why am I talking about a minority? Because I'm a white guy, you know, like it's all this like political correctness now that's just like invading it all. And I don't want to think about that garbage. Like I'll write a story all about white boys if I'm a white boy. Like, why can't I do that? You know, you can write a story, Jessica, about white girls. You know what I'm saying? And if I want to write a story about a black boy, I can. Like, it's like, that's what storytelling is that's what acting is and storytelling. It's like you're putting yourself in someone else's shoes and you're trying to understand it, you know? And so it can, like, let's let artists and storytellers say what they want to say, but you can't right now. So that's part of the reason self-publishing is so like fun for me, is like, I can do what I want to do. And I'm not worried about the political correctness. I'm not worried about it all. I mean, sure, it might blow up in my face if I say something wrong, but I would rather say something wrong than be chained to this stupid comic idea that I don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And
then it's their agenda that you're following.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you still have to, from what I hear, you know, it doesn't sell well, then you get all the copies back, or that's a very short print run. Oh, by the way, you only get this much of a percentage of the cut at the end for all of that.
I was going to say, Jessica, if you want, there's a really good podcast that Jake Parker did with Comics Lab recently, where he discusses why he decided not to take his recent book, Skyheart, to a publisher. Because he had a publisher offer him a really good deal, and he gives all his reasons why he's like, nope, in the end, it wasn't right. And I know that they were also pushing some of that stuff that Jason was just talking about too, with like, oh, well, this isn't what we want. This is what we need. We need this and this. This is what the market wants.
Yeah. Yeah. And
absolutely.
And like so much of what I do is like, it's me, you know, it's like, these are themes that I may not just openly talk about, but I want to, they're, you know, like my faith and my belief and all that stuff, it's infused into my books because that's what I feel like I should be talking about in my books, you know? And it's not the agenda that everyone else wants. I mean, that's why I left Hollywood. Like I didn't want to beautify their agenda. I wanted to beautify my agenda, you know? And I'm fine with having an agenda, you know? I mean, whether it's to make money or to prove a point, or like, I like to look at stories like parables, like stories can change people's lives, you know? So I look at them as a big weight. Like this is an important thing to get right. It's not like, let me just churn out what the masses want to please their whims. I want to do the right thing. So anyway, but yeah, we all want to get to a place where a publisher will say, I love, like, you're doing something right. Maybe it's controversial. Maybe it's not what we believe. A publisher, most of them probably have different divisions that believe all different things, and have different agendas. So that shouldn't really get in the way. But if you can, like, prove that you can build a following and you can make good stories one after another, you're not a one-hit wonder, then I think eventually those doors always open up for people. But like Jake Parker said, maybe it's shifting enough now to where we don't even want that. I mean, my friend Doug Tnaple is almost like going so hard into self-publishing that he's like saying, I don't care about comic stores. I don't care about any of that stuff. Like, they never helped me. For 20 years, I've been making graphic novels. They never helped me. Like, now they want to help me. So I don't know where I stand exactly, because I would like a publishing deal. I'd like a publisher to take care of things for me, but also I've been building this for so long that it might just be better to just hire an assistant to manage stuff and keep going, because I can control it all, and I'm kind of used to it now, and I don't mind raising money on Kickstarter and connecting directly with the fans and people, like, in my world, like you guys. It's like, you don't see Stephen King doing that,
And you still get your books into places like Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And that's where a lot of people go already. So
exactly, yeah, we can still get there.
You might get into it, but you probably don't need to at this point. You have a really good system set up.
I personally feel that the times have changed. I feel that the days of, like, because I'm surrounded by so many talented people, not only in the art game, but the music game. And I helped so many, because I have a degree in graphic design, and I've helped so many people. But I tell them all the time, like, a friend of mine, he's in the music game and stuff like that. He's been doing it for a while. He hasn't sold millions upon millions of records, but he sold some music. And I had to tell him that success, it measures on the way that you see it. And for me, I remember when he was just the writer and just the guy who was begging people for studio time and please let me get this track so I can write on it. And now he's the guy writing the music, producing the music, arranging the music, doing everything himself. And I told him, I said, look at where you come to where you are now. So I personally, my motto is do it yourself. If you could do it yourself, go for it. And now if somebody comes to the table and gives you something that says, okay, you can still do it yourself, but hey, can we get a little piece? And it's like, okay, fine. But other than that, just go for it. Do it yourself. If you fall on your face, you get up, you try again.
Yeah, there's always, like, people wonder why, people go to, like, there's like a lot of good music out there. There's a lot of good artists out there, good books. Like, there's things that look like movies that are being made that are really, really good. But sometimes these people, like, they feel like they can't do the things that they want to do. So what is it? They because they were rejected. Let's just say they were rejected by one, like a group in particular. So that they wanted to do, let's say, the Christian route, right? They wanted to go the Christian route, but they wanted to do things a little differently. Maybe they wanted to push the envelope a little bit more. And so that Christian group, let's say, said, no, you can't do that. You can't curse. You can't show nudity. You can't do, I'm just saying, like, whatever it is, it's like, so that pushed them to go to some place that would say you could do that. But then they're now conforming. They'll grow up in this place where, like, their career will grow around, let's say that political correctness, where they felt like they can do that there. And then they got influenced by, let's just say, like, their Christian beliefs are sort of warped or something, when this this Christian group over here should have been allowing them to, instead of saying, no, you can't do anything, just see where it goes. Just see where your story goes and see what you can do. And so a lot of people I like the feeling of being untethered, like not feeling like I got to conform to, because it's like they probably can't see it the way I do, or they can't understand it the way I can, or something like that. I have run into that just so many times trying to find people like, okay, so how do I do it? How do I do it? What's the right way? and so finally, eventually I just sort of just stopped. I just stopped complaining about it, stopped trying to find the right way of doing it, because I'm afraid my story will come out looking like just this like sort of cookie cutter kind of thing. It'll look like everybody else's, and it just maybe has little different elements.
It'll be somebody else's story. It won't be yours.
It just looks like this thing that I just like the idea about just going wherever it goes. It doesn't mean like I have to do the politically incorrect thing. It doesn't mean that. It just means that you want to go wherever it goes, wherever the truth leads you, wherever the story goes, and you shouldn't feel unhindered. Now we just sort of live in that kind of society now where we like the publisher is not about it's just not about that. Like you can say in general, probably not all, but they give off this vibe that it's like you have to do it their way, you have to do it this way. It doesn't allow you to grow. It doesn't allow you to discover things about yourself that you never knew were there. It doesn't allow you to it doesn't like allow you to say something stupid or something awful, or believe. You have to believe and conform to what they want, and it's all around. So you can say left or right. Like you could say left, yes. It's like there is this dominant force that is influencing it this way, but on the right, it's the same thing. Like I'm around Christian circles a lot, and they do the same thing. They have their own political correctness that you can't go outside of this. The left, they have their same political correctness. It's all there. So the only thing is, there's something beyond the left and the right. It's called, there is this spiritual battle that you are on, that you're in, and that you are seeing play out. It's like, yeah, you got to get into politics. Yeah, you got to understand society. You got to understand how it all works. You got to play the game. We're all slaves to money. We're all, you know what I mean? It's like, it's all there, but it's like, there's a bigger spiritual battle going on. And so, so the feeling of being untethered, the feeling of just going out there and doing something, just doing it and seeing what happens. There's a lot of, you can gain a lot in that. And so that's why I was like, just, what you guys were saying.
Well,
Jason.
I'm sorry.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
It's Jada.
Hey, Jada, I'm happy you showed up.
I
I know you've been trying to get on this a long time.
Well, I'm a very early adopter of your work, as you probably are aware. And I wanted to come on today. First of all, it's at a convenient time when I eat lunch. But I also wanted to say, I'm sorry, first of all, I'm obviously the senior person here. I'm what's known as a silver fox. Some say I'm a sexy silver fox, but whatever. I've had a lot of very successful careers. I've had several very successful careers, and the arts, all in the arts. And in the latter days, I was doing a lot of gallery work and portraits, and I just got bored. I usually get bored, and like you, I quit the first one, very successful, making a lot of money, which is, I recommend, a good idea if you want to go off and do things on your own tangent. It's very helpful to have made a lot of money at something first. So you have it in the bank. But I went off and did art, did illustrating, a lot of children's books and magazines and things. Got bored with that and went off into portraits and gallery work. And then I got bored with that. When did you do Remind, the first copy of Remind? When were you and Doug TenNapel doing a podcast?
That was probably 2010 or 11. Probably right. 2011.
So that's 2010 or 11 is when I came upon you. And I don't know if it was Doug TenNapel or you first. But when I saw your artwork, I had decided that I was going to not do gallery. I was going to actually, that I'd gotten old enough and was well off enough that I could afford to actually write something that I really was interested in myself. And like the young fellow over there who was talking about his 120 pages or whatever, I also have rather too many pages for my graphic novel or illustrated novel. In any event, I just wanted to say I looked at your artwork and it was absolutely spectacularly beautiful. And I wanted to learn digital. This was my big campaign because I had avoided digital for years. I was a traditional. So I thought, oh, this is very cool how he has done this. It's really cool.
Hey, Shelly.
And you were very forthcoming with information and useful stuff for me because I was at that point still thinking I was going to do maybe a comic book. And so I just wanted to stick after all these years. Now I'm well into an illustrated thing, and I unlike some of the people in this group, I probably won't have trouble getting it somewhere if I want to. But like was just being discussed, what I am doing doesn't fit perfectly in any genre. It doesn't quite fit YA. It doesn't quite fit adult. It doesn't quite fit kids. It doesn't quite fit anyone. So I'm having a great time, though. And I have to say, a lot of your advice, I mean, I've kind of moved on from the early days now, and I know a lot more about digital, about everything that I didn't know about, that I was utilizing all of your information. I certainly have all your books, or at least a good number of them. And I think you're one of my Patreon people. I think I actually supported you on Patreon. At this point, I no longer can remember who I'm supporting.
Well, that you must, because that's how you got this link.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah. So thank you.
And I just wanted you to know that you dropped something out there a long time ago, and it rippled and rippled and rippled, and it's kept going for me. And so I really appreciate it. And I love the fact that you have all of these people and you're still doing it, and that you did take a gamble just like I did in my life. I quit cold, and everybody thought I was completely out of my mind because I was highly successful, making a lot of money. And I was going off to do some completely nutso thing. At that point, it was children's books. And they said, what are you, crazy?
Wow, that's neat.
But I'm still getting royalties from some of those children's books. Who knew that they actually can bring money in? So there's so much that you have to be willing to gamble. You just have to be. But you also make sure you have enough money and supportive family or whatever the hell you can't just go out there completely crazy. So Thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I really, really do. That's cool. It's always neat to hear. I mean, it's not common, but it's neat to hear when people are influenced and inspired by something I said at some point. So it really is encouraging. I appreciate that. And I'm glad I was able to have you on a chat one of these days too. It's been a long time coming.
Well, I haven't tried very hard. I tend to hide out because I tend to hide. Physically, I don't like. And also, once I get going, I might talk too much. So I just,
Well, please send me your books or whatever you're working on when you're ready.
You'll Google me, and you mean my current one that I'm working on? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm having a hell of a good time. I can't believe how much fun it is to finally be free, because I've done enough books with publishers and had to deal with art directors whose ideas. And speaking of the religious thing, at one point I was asked to help. There was a packager who was trying to do religious books, and one of the books was they wanted me to make the sample stuff that they were pitching. And one of the books was about Moses in the bulrushes. And I did a huge amount of research. This was early days, and I was doing massive amount of research. And I was reading archaeological magazines about the religious sites and all of this stuff. And I found out that during the time of Moses, the pharaohs were black. They were African black, not Middle Eastern skinned. And so I thought, well, I could make the princess who gets Moses or whatever. And I thought, no, they won't go for that. So I thought, I'll just make the handmaiden. The handmaiden is going to be black. And she'll bring Moses from out of the ballroom. No, they did not. So about my third book, I think I finally won that war, because I have a very mixed race family, and I grew up in New York City, which you see every kind of person on earth, and I thought it was insane that we can't mix and match. But I still have a book called Miss Tizzy that was not ostensibly about a black old lady. It was about an old lady and a bunch of kids. And man, did I have a good time with that one, because I got an art director who was willing and a publisher who was willing. It was Simon and Schuster. I think it was, maybe it was Random. I think it was Simon and Schuster. They were willing. So I was able to break that mold. So I'm with you on this. I think we all should be able to do whatever we want to do. If we want to, do purple people, go ahead and do purple people.
Yeah.
I think there is, however, a case to be had for respecting cultures.
Yeah.
And not doing something that really is not respecting. And that's very hard to call. But I really think we should not limit each other artistically at all. I think everybody should just do whatever they want. And that's it. I'm shutting up now and going away. See,
Well, I appreciate you chiming in.
Yeah, see that untethered feeling? It just feels really good.
Well,
Absolutely.
The only thing I was going to add to that is, like, once you kind of go through the process of figuring it out all for yourself, when a publisher comes to you with a good deal, you'll actually know it, instead of trying to make something happen and compromising yourself, for the wrong reasons. You'll be able to know the deal that you want to make and where you're willing to compromise.
Yeah, it's like that. So I'm exploring this whole thing, the love of money, right? So it's like the love of money. So it's like, where is it? When you get that deal, when you get that amount of money, it's like, how do you, when something is already so successful, how does something like, it's like you think of MySpace. How did MySpace fall? It's because they took a deal. They took a deal, and then it just went away. It got destroyed. And then Facebook takes over. You know what I mean? Like, if you look at the whole history of MySpace, it was doing so well, and it was on its own. And then, you had a bunch of musicians and comedians and all these kinds of things, just making a good living on there. And then one day they got a really good, like, $800 million deal or something like that. And then they went away. It's because they just, everything was going well. One day all these people were there, and the next day they were just getting fired, and they were just leaving crying or something like that. So anyways, so it's like, it's something to explore. It's something to think about the love of money. What are you willing to do for all this money? What are you willing not to say? What are you willing not to write about? What are you willing? And I think that it does come down to that whole thing where in that movie, it's like, if you don't do this, well, I'm going to kill your mom. It's like, what? So it's like, that is something to explore, something to think about. Is it that simple? Is it like always? Does it always come down to that? What do you have? Who is your master? Who is the, who is leading you? Who's pulling your strings? Who's your handler? Is it you? Is it God? Is it what? Are you willing to go anywhere? Are you willing to do anything? It's like, or are you willing? It's like, part of growing and maturing is, it's that trust, it's that faith, it's that risk, it's that. It's growth, it's maturing anyway. So, yeah.
Hey guys, I wanted to introduce you to my wife. She kept popping her head in.
Hi.
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 This is Chelly.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
How are you?
Now that we're at home, she can actually be a part of the streams.
I thought the video call was going to be over.
Artist yourself?
So,
Are you a writer, artist?
I'm not an artist in that sense. I do make handcrafted jewelry. I did for a little bit, but fitness has become my thing now. So I do mothering and fitness stuff now as my art.
She's crazy with fitness. She can like do like handstand push-ups.
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not.
How many can you do, Jason?
I did one once.
Has one more
Wait,
than
did you
me.
say none? Is that...
I don't know if I could do it again.
I'm afraid to break my hand. Like,
That was your one lifetime handstand push-up.
So we were actually discussing you a little while ago before you walked in. I wanted to know your mindset when he came to you and said, okay, I want to leave. I don't want to go. I don't want to do this anymore. Can we go? And I want to make comic books.
Well, I have to say, like, I knew that was coming.
Okay.
He had been ruminating on that for a while anyway. And when he started at DreamWorks, he did his comics on the side, and he was super disciplined. Like, he would wake up at 5 a.m., which is not, that's not him. And he would work on it for 2 hours. He'd come inside and help with the kids. He'd go to do his day job. He'd go do his day job, and then he'd come back, help with the kids. Once the kids went to bed, he'd go back out and, you know, do his thing again. And then, you know, he'd be in bed by 10 so that he'd get enough sleep. Hold on, story. To, you know, be able to wake up at 5. So I knew it was something that he wanted to do. Now, as far as moving to Idaho, that I didn't know, because when we first got married, he told me he'd never
never wanted to move to Idaho.
He never wanted to move back to Idaho. So
yeah.
But I wasn't surprised because his parents live here, and it kind of was a no-brainer. Because even though my parents live in California and they're literally probably about 12 miles away, it wasn't convenient to get help from them, and it's way more convenient here. And Idaho is
like for the kids.
For the kids, and just, I don't know, to be more involved with that side of the family. So I don't know.
And just living.
No, but I must really congratulate you, because it's all about, no, seriously, really, because it when you have that support system and you know, you want to reach this goal, you want to reach where he is right now, which in my eyes is very successful. It may not be in your eyes, and you may not be where you want to be, but in my eyes, no, I'm talking about Jason. in his eyes, he may not be where he is, but when I look at him from where he is to where it's very successful, and when you have that support system, that's great. That's amazing, and I have to applaud you.
Yes, I agree with that, and I feel, I don't know, you could answer this if this is true or not. I feel like I've tried to encourage him in most of these endeavors that have to do with that, the best that I can. It has been, because he's a different person when it comes to this. It's very interesting, and he's grown a lot, just in going to conventions, in speaking in front of people, even in just doing this right here. He's grown a lot, and he's become a different person. I mean, better. And I feel like when he is able to express and tell what is going on in his mind, you know, in his brain and his soul, that helps him, and that helps us all. And I think as artists, that's something that you guys need. And I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying there haven't been many times where I have felt like, okay, I'm just here to support you, but I still have my identity and my thing that I want to do. And I've started to do that with my fitness and things like that. And he's been super encouraging. But I do agree that when you feel supported, and that helps immensely. And because I don't know, I feel like it's kind of the backbone of helping you do the day-to-day grind, even when you don't want to, but you know that there's people that support you, love you, no matter how it goes, and that when it's hard, but we'll do it together. I don't know, because we've been through our hard times, even when he was working at DreamWorks.
Yeah.
And when he was in the industry.
Yeah.
So
he's there to catch you when you fall out of your handstand.
Say again? Yes.
I'm there to catch you when you fall out of your handstand.
Yes. And I'm there to hold the household together when he finishes a project, because definitely goes through that artist down. That what I feel like there should be a name for it. Like
Drama
when you
queen?
finish a book. Yes, when he finishes a book, there's a time.
There's a D.
Yeah,
there's a
time where he goes through the depression, a little small depression,
The
where
letdown.
he doesn't feel inspired. He doesn't know what he's gonna do next, and that's when I have to like, all right, I'm gonna pull it together for everybody.
That's postpartum. That's postpartum.
Yeah, I need to write a book about it. The spouses of artists. I'm serious.
That doesn't just happen with artists. It happens with marathon runners and anything that you, I mean, it's a psychological thing. Anything you're trying to do for a long time, you finally get it. And then once you finish it, you just kind of crash psychologically afterwards. Yeah.
We've gone through it a couple of times, and I think I've learned now to just be like, all right, here we go.
It's coming. I don't know. I'm still working on the first one, and I got another 12, 13 scripts I've written. So I'm always going to have something coming. And I'm working, like I told him, I'm working with my nephew. So I definitely applaud you guys. Like, it's really inspiring. It definitely is. And, you know, I can't quit my job and move, you know, but but I'm definitely looking forward to a time where I can leave, because the hustle and bustle of New York City is just, it's getting its toll on me. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. So it's like, it's taking its toll on me. So the day when I can finally say, oh, well, you know, I'm gonna up and move, nice house somewhere else, and do this constantly as work, and because I don't consider it work, you know, it's just something I love to do, and I can't wait to publish that first book. I told my wife there's 2 times I'm gonna cry: when my son was born and when I publish his first book.
I do, but
and she threw in the winner.
I do still think there is a time where you will feel like it's work, because I know. I've seen that in Jason, where he's just like, you know, he knows how to be disciplined, and I look up to him for that. But there are still times where I'm like, okay, this is taking its toll on him. You know,
I think with Jason, I think honestly, not to speak for him, but I think for Jason, he knows that the audience that he has, like me and so many other people, he's like, oh man, you know, these people are counting on me, you know, and I don't want to let them down, and they love my stuff. So I think that pushes him a little more. I think if he didn't have that audience, I think he'd be a little more lazy about it. You know, he'd be like, oh, well, you know, I can put it out whenever I want. But he knows, like, okay, I have this audience that I really look forward to this book, to the next book, to the next. Even if you look at the book you sent us, Jason.
Phobos.
Phobos. It's something that you started when you were young. And now everybody's going back to it, and they're like, oh man, this is great. Like, this is funny. It's something you didn't think would ever come back around again. And now it's coming back around again, and everybody's in tune in it. So just keep going. Trust me, you're good. Whatever your goals are going to reach for, you're going to get there. And I'm just going to follow your blueprint.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
And Steve, let me tell you, it was not necessarily easy. It did take a lot of faith and a lot to like do this, not even just for him, but for, I don't know, for me to say, okay, I'm going to move to this place where I don't really know anybody, but I'm going to
that's why I wanted to hear it from your side, because every time I hear it, I've heard this story, but every time I hear him say it, it's always like, oh, she said, oh, yeah, you know, okay, we'll go. And I'm like, I know that's not how it happened.
I've had like times where I'm like, what am I doing here? Like, what is my purpose for being here besides supporting Jason, you know? And so, but it's been better for you. Say again?
One of the reasons was just behind you, peeking out. One adorable.
Yes, that little one. My kids have, like, they enjoy here, and it's much better, I feel like, for our stress level to be here.
Absolutely.
And I think even though I grew up in California, I thoroughly appreciate just the slowness, the stillness,
and that's what I can't wait for.
Yeah.
You know, I'm hustling, bustling in New York every day.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that little moment when it's just quiet.
And when you haven't, now that I've experienced it, I literally cannot handle more than a couple days in California, even though that is where I was born and raised. I'm like, I can go there for a couple days, have my good food and get all my stuff. But after that, I'm like, okay, I'm done with you people. I'm done with this. I need to go back to my mountains and the deer and the woodland. Like, serious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like Stevie had said, that well, what I guess like the schedule topic, where it was now one of the things that get us, like, we fear, and why we don't start anything, and we're like self-sabotaging ourselves, is because we now think of the responsibility now that's on our shoulders. We're like, oh my God, now people have rely on me to get this done. It's like, and then that's part of the overwhelming, there's like that overwhelming factor that there's another thing of fear, a fear of, like, you know, that it's another thing about shame or humiliation. It all kind of ties into that. So that's why we self-sabotage ourselves. We don't stick to a schedule. We kind of continue with our habits and that of procrastination or something like that. And then the other thing was the support, was like, not a lot of people have that support. They don't think that they need that support, or they avoid the support, and they don't understand how much it matures you. They think it's going to get in the way. And, you know, going back to earlier points or anything about, they think that the family's going to get in the way. It's not going to, it's not going to, it's going to hinder you. It's going to slow you down. It's not going to be the way you thought it was going to be. But it's like, if you get through, I remember one of my friends was asking me, because he just got married. He came up to me and he was like, so when did you get into the groove of things? You know, when did I said, I don't know, like 5 years in, like, so good luck. You know, it's like, I'm
still waiting for the groove.
Yeah. It's Kevin in there, you know?
But with that being said,
yeah.
Do you feel like I'm doing this for them and not for you? When does it change? You know what I mean? Because I feel like in the beginning, is it about doing it for you and for you to be able to get out? Sorry, can you please
close the door, please?
Is it about you being able to express what you have inside and for you? But then when you have an audience and you feel like, okay, I need to give something to these people, does that hinder your progress? Or do you ever feel like that, like, I don't know, I don't want to be doing it for them because it's about me?
For me, when not to cut you off, Jason, for me, I could use Jason as an example. Every book that Jason has come out with, it's been him. So I feel that if you put your stuff out there, people, like-minded people, will gravitate toward you.
Yeah.
And personally, for me, like I was telling Jason, I'm a comic book collector, and I've been collecting for over 30 years. I'm for the last 5 or 7 years or so more, I've been gravitating more towards the indie route. And this book, if I don't walk into a store and see that book and say, okay, you know what? If my book doesn't come out the way I want it to, and say, okay, this is a book I would pick up, I'm not putting it out. I'm not putting it out. And it is for me. It is for me. It could sound selfish, it could sound whatever, but it's for me. And I know, and there's people out there, you know, I don't have a big following, but I have a following of people. Like the other day, somebody ran into me and they were like, hey, when you put your book out, I had no idea who this person was, but it was like, they are looking forward to it. So it's like, okay, why should I change who it is and what I'm writing just to appease a smaller group of people? You know, it's like, okay, you know, you don't like it, it's okay, it's fine, you know, but I'm not gonna change my story because this person, and don't get me wrong, I went through all that. That's why it took me so long to finish writing this story. But it was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Some people like it, some people don't. It is what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this all the people that I like respect like the most, and who I felt like have helped me grow, and then have even said things where, you know, that I don't entirely agree with, you know, so those are the people that, like, yeah, they're and they are doing it. Let's say, you know, it's like they are doing it for themselves. So I think they are doing it and they are growing and they are saying what they're thinking. They're doing what they think is right. They may be wrong, but they're not lying. You know, it's like they're doing it for themselves, and they're growing, and they're not like accommodating this person and accommodating that person. And, you know, so I think it is about the, you know, it will be about yourself, and you're growing. And so it's like, and because that's what, like, I mean, I remember even with, I don't think it was you, Jason. I think it was either Jake Parker. I'm not sure who was, it was like promoting the idea about a brand. Now I have my reservations about that, because as artists, we shouldn't, I'm still thinking about this whole thing. It's about branding. Shouldn't brand yourself as anything. You just sort of, you don't know, you may be a different person this year. Next year, you may think a different way, you may grow into something else. So are we working towards this brand? Because I work for a company that in this branding is, you know, sometimes it's like, it's coming off as like a lie, or it's not really honest or something about certain things, and, you know, about that brand that they're coming up with. And I'm like, really, that's you? It's not really you. But anyway, so I'm always like, I get weary as an artist about branding, about that. And so I'm like, no, the people who don't care about branding, they just keep, those are the people about, that I respect the most, that are just, they get away from the branding. And like I said, I got to still think about that more, about the whole branding thing, about artists and branding. I don't think you should do a branding, but anyways, but yeah, so it's like
be known for your style.
What? I'm sorry?
But still known for your style, not a brand per se, but known for your style of writing and artistry.
Yeah. That's just something that you can grow in that and everything. I think it's like because with Jason, what you're doing, I mean, you have your opinions on so many different things that you bring up about the medium, that can sort of go out to the wayside of, you know, it's I wouldn't say it's like so politically incorrect, but it starts veering that direction. It veers that direction, but it's, you know, so anyways, but I'm just saying that it goes off, and you're sort of being yourself. You're just being you. You just be yourself. And so I guess that answers the question. I hope you know, veer off.
I wanted to throw in something too. If I can remember exactly what it was, is kind of like, I think the whole idea of like, I'm doing this for myself, it's one side of it. I think, you know, you have to make something that connects to people, but I think what I'm trying to do, it's express things that I feel like others would help other people.
Yeah.
That if only you could get this thing that I feel like I discovered, then I think you would be happier. You know,
I can't tell you just in one sitting. I have to like show you with my life, and you know what I mean, like, and that's what you're doing. You know, that's why I think that's a part of it. It's sort of like I wish I could just sit down and you just go click. You know, you get it, but you won't. So I have to it's like living out thing. It's a showing. It's a it's like the James 2 or whatever it is. You know, it's like let me show you that, you know, what a Christian life looks like. Yeah, it's like.
And with that being said, does it never feel like work then?
No, it'll feel like that. It'll feel like work. I was gonna say, like, I wanted to go through seasons one of these days with Nandor and talk about certain pages where I was just like, I didn't care about this at all. Like there's pages like that, like where I just like, I could look back on it. I'm like, man, I could have done this really, really well. But there was just some days where I was like, I was enjoying it. I was like, man, this page is great. And there were some days where I was just like, I don't even want to do this. But we gotta keep going. I gotta pay the bills. Anyway. So it was like that. So anyways, but it'll feel like work. It'll feel like work, because that fear of responsibility, it's that fear. It's like that where I think that kind of messes with it. That kind of goes into it. Like responsibility is like something to think. It's like that we have a aversion to it, and it makes things not fun sometimes.
I mean, for me, it's the responsibility end of it. I have a 9-to-5. I have a job, and it pays the bills, and we're okay. So I'm able to dive into this when I can and do what I need to do. And I'll work my job around this. And hopefully one day, God willing, I'll get to the point where this will be paying the bills and this will be paying everything I want to do, you know, so that way I don't have to stress at my job, and then I could just do this. And yeah, this is going to be stressful, but like I tell people all the time, I'd rather be my own boss. I'd rather work for me for 14 hours stressing. Yeah, how is this bill going to get paid? How is this? Yeah, and losing my mind over it. But I'm not losing my mind for somebody else who's golfing and enjoying their life, you know, while I'm sitting here stressing and sweating my brains out for them. You know, like, that's just my opinion. That's just me. I'm not telling nobody to go quit their job and you know, go for it. You know, if that's what you feel, that's what you feel. But I want to get to a point, like right now for me, I just turned 46 on the 14th. And for me, it's like I have a 4-year plan trying to get all of this stuff done. And for me, it was like, okay, you know what? Everybody's like, well, why 4 years? I said, well, because I did 4 years of high school. It blew by. I did 4 years of college. It blew by, you know? So I was like, you know what? Let me do a 4-year plan. If I did 4 years in the military, it would have blew by. So I was like, all right, I'm going to do a 4-year plan of this and see where I am 4 years from now. So why not?
Yeah. The responsibility is just like, it is one of those things that,
oh yeah,
people just, they'll avoid it. And I'm always saying, embrace the chores. You know, it's like you got chores around the house, you know, find, you know, just try to embrace the work, you know, like try to embrace the chores, like find some the beauty in the order, you know. It's like waiting. It's like if you're building a fence, you know, the cement will dry, not when you want it to. It'll rise at this time and this way with this right mixture. Embrace that. Like, try to understand that. Try to, you know, embrace that you need you need responsibility. You're like, you know, you're a beast of burden. You're a whatever. You're, you know. Anyways, but yeah. So it's like embrace the chores, embrace that, and try to find that joy in that. I'm not saying happiness. I'm just saying the joy.
Yeah, I love that. I have my 2 older sons. I'm trying to teach them that with working at home on chores and stuff. And it's, you know, it's a struggle, but it's so fascinating when we work, when we, you know, we clean up together, we do the dishes together, they're happier.
Yeah.
They're much happier than if we just let them play or watch things or whatever. There really is something so true about, like, humans are designed to do something, to work, and we find joy in it.
Well, it's like serving others. It's like, you know, helping the community, the society. That we are communal. We need people around us. You know, it's like that's why shame and humiliation is so key. And like that's why, like, if you say something wrong, Jason, you know, I'm going to Twitter shame you. You know what I mean? I'm going to lob all of this shame on you for saying something. You know, it's like you have an opinion. Well, here I come. You know. And so everyone's like, no, I'm going to say whatever I need to say. I need to be around, you know. It's like, that's why, like, you know, you would shun, you know. It's like, I think about Dwight, you know, he's like shun, right? He goes, I was shunned for 6 years, you know, as a child or something. And, you know, people can't be away from like it's like with like children in school, they're taught, you know, if you say something unpopular, they will be shamed in school. No one will talk to them, and then they'll just then they'll feel like, you know, they've been away. They taken away from all the sensory, all the interaction, everything that they need, and they'll want to be back with the group. They'll want to say whatever they need to say. So shame and humiliation is just like, it's just key. It's just like something that lost my train of thought. So there you go. I forgot.
Before we wrap this up, I know, Jason, you're about to bounce soon enough. Can we just talk about what everybody's working on? Because I'm very interested in seeing what everybody else is working on right now. I don't know if you could show samples, or because I seen when you do these chats and I'm at work and I'm sneaking to watch the videos, you know, yeah, if everybody could just show or talk about what you're working on.
Yeah. You want me to point people out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
All
right. Screen's on you.
The screen's on me?
Okay.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was like, what? Yeah. Right now, I'm actually finishing up the first issue of my comic, The Brood. Jason's been nice enough to like look at the art a couple times on his YouTube art reviews. You can probably find it mostly at my website. I did put it up on Webtoons. I didn't really like that, but I'm gonna finish editing it and re-release it on probably my website.
Sounds good. Okay. And Joshua, I don't know if you can participate in this or not, but I'll come back to you, okay? All right, Jessica, it's all on you now.
Well, so I'm working on writing and illustrating my graphic novel, and I have a little 30-page dummy that introduces my character, and she sort of talks about what she does, and it's just blue line sketch right now. But this is giving me a chance to really test run my graphic novel in a much smaller bite-sized format and be able to kind of feel out what works and what doesn't, and then have a smaller finished product that I can show people and that they have a better understanding of the vision that I have. And so I have a better understanding of the vision. So I am just about to finish the inks, hopefully by the end of next week, and then it's coloring stage. So I'm really keeping this under wraps because right now I've shown a lot of art in the past, and it's been helpful to have the feedback, but it's also sometimes polluted the purity of inspiration. And I'm confident enough in my skills. I know there will always be improvements that I could make, but right now I feel like this is really best to be produced to the level that I know I'm happy with, so that no matter what people think of it, it's something I will be content with and pleased with. So I'm excited to share it. I'm getting tired of saying, yeah, I'm writing this thing, and you have to I will
Jessica,
show it.
are you on any social media or
Yeah, I am. I put my website down. I am on Instagram. I put my handle.
Oh, I tried to see you. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Everybody put a link to it. You just put the handle. Okay, I see.
I just handle.
Cool. Okay, no problem. I got it. No, I got you.
A lot of that work, and it's going to be updated, but right now I'm just pouring all my attention into this because, again, that comes later. This is more important first to me.
Yeah. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I'll put all their links into the YouTube description after we're done recording this. So there you go. All right, Jeremiah, do you want to talk about what you're working on?
Yeah, sure. I guess the big goal, like I'm a computer animator. I've been doing environment art for architects and developers for like 10 years, but I'm getting tired of the architecture stuff, and I'm trying to make my own animated short film. So that's kind of the big picture, and hopefully have it tied into a graphic novel and other stuff. So there's like this whole little package of work that goes along with that. But kind of where I'm at right now is just going back to very basic stuff. I finished architecture school like 13 years ago now, and I've lost a lot of the draftsmanship and drawing skills. So I came up with kind of a do-it-yourself art degree. And so I'm kind of going through now. I did some research and looked into some different art programs and kind of put together my own degree plan based on those. And all the way back at the beginning, just doing like basics of sketching, working on perspective and drawing organic shapes and man-made forms and hard surface stuff. So eventually the animation part is the goal. I'm still kind of working on that as well. But drawing wise, just kind of doing basic stuff, learning how to draw again.
Cool.
Kind of where I'm at. I don't know.
Good.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're, Jada, if you're able to share like links or something that we can find you online.
I don't really know how to share anything visually right now, but I'm Jada Zing on Instagram. JADAZING. Jada Zing.
ZING?
And of course, jada.info is my ancient webpage which we have not renewed or done anything about for the last 6 years or something. But there's old stuff, a lot of old stuff. You can see all my old stuff. And oh, I don't know. I have Patreon. I have a Patreon, but I'm not keeping up with it. This is one of the things that happens, is that this is the modern world now. All of this stuff about promoting yourself on social media. I was overly promoted on social media very early in my life, and so it tended to make me not terribly interested in doing that. But it was made apparent to me by the current art director types that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm making an effort. Occasionally I post something, and probably on Instagram. Instagram is probably, Jada Zing is probably the easiest likely space.
Instagram, okay. And that was your Jada Zing is on Instagram?
Yeah, it's actually Jada. Jada Pinkett was named after me, apparently, but they didn't have my name. So it's actually Jada because it's from a jazz song.
Oh, okay. Very cool. Okay, well, I'll try to post a link to your Instagram then on the video, under the video then.
Yeah.
All right. Anthony.
Me?
What are you working on?
So, well, I already have a book out. It's called Seasons. It's right here. See that? What's up?
No.
We see it.
Very good thing. And then, what is it? Jason did my forward right there.
Oh, yeah.
See that? There you go. Jason. Did you remember that, Jason?
No.
Right. Yeah. So this has been the long term project. It's going to be about 4 arcs, basically. So all this, it's called Seasons. We're going to do all the seasons. So we just finished spring last over a year ago, and now we're going to start out with summer, and then we're going to do fall and winter. And so we're trying to speed up the pace of it right now. So we're going to be starting up summer. Actually, I think when summer? No, in August, and start drawing it again and get back into that. We already done an issue right now. If you go to seasonsthecomicbook.com, you can read it all there for free. Issues 1 through 5 are there. We're trying to change the format and just kind of go all to webtoons, just that whole format, and then trying to figure out what else we can do, about just pushing the book out there. I mean, there's not many things you can do other than just the basic social media stuff, the website, the webtoons, and whatever we can do with that. And I'm going to try to do more YouTube stuff, more live stream things, just doing what Jason basically is doing, just drawing the book live or talking about the stuff that I've been pretty much going over right now, about just helping people get over the certain like bumps that they're having from actually starting their book, or just fixing other things, suggesting that they fix other things probably in their life before they try to, tackle something so, momentous, but anyways, so that would be it. So like the YouTube thing is just like kind of like a future plan in the next couple of weeks. And you just follow me on Instagram. I'll be updating seasons on there. Go to the website and read it there. And yeah, there you go. That's all I got going.
Alrighty. Austin.
Sorry, I had to mute myself. So I just finished a 36-page comic that I did for my master's I was completing, and so I did that, and it was a really good experience, and I learned a lot. But I wanted to do I'm working right now on something new because I want to do something a little bit shorter that has, that I can actually finish easy and doesn't take me a few years to do, kind of like Anthony was talking about. So they're quite so large and epic, because that's my weakness of finishing. And so I'm working right now on a story about a kind of a fairy tale story about a young girl who wants to be a big hero like her dad, and gets kidnapped by goblins and has to kind of learn to befriend them in order to get home again. So,
That's neat. I can't wait to see it.
Thank you. That's what I'm working on.
Well, good. And then Allison.
you want to share?
Let's see. Basically, lately I've been working on commissions mostly, and a bit on my own comic.
Yeah.
That's been my life, and sleeping.
And sleeping. That's good. Well, very good. And then Joshua, I don't know if you can speak. I don't think we've heard from you yet. So I don't know if you can only listen. If you want to jump in, you can talk about what you're working on if you want. If not, then we'll wrap this up.
Hey, I didn't get a turn.
Oh. You're the one
I suggested it, and I didn't even get a turn. Wait a minute.
What?
Well, you're doing that Utopia thing, right?
About to unfollow everybody in here. Okay. No, if Joshua's going, that's fine. I can wait.
Yeah, I haven't heard. He hasn't said anything, so go for it.
Okay. For me, I'm doing Cure for Utopia. It's a sci-fi type story, and it's been a long time coming. So actually, I could show you guys like a sample of what I'm working on. Hold on one second. Hopefully this works. All right. Like I was telling you before, this is the program that they have actually the 3D bonding inside of Clip Studio, so you can actually kind of see how the book might come out, you know. So so this is pretty much fancy. It's the future. So pretty much let me see if this will actually open. It's a blank page. So this is pretty much like what I've been up to. And I love this program because it literally helps me just see everything that I'm working with. And it's just been great. I haven't done the wording yet, but it's coming soon. I mean, I already did the script and it's just coming just fine. And I can't wait. I really cannot wait to publish this book out.
That's looking great.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jason. That means a lot coming from you. It really does. So yeah, this is one of my favorite pages right here. As you can see, I like to break panels a lot. And the funny thing is, it actually, as you go, you can see the progress. Like I've gotten better and better going as the book goes on. So it really came out way better than I thought. You know, but I love it. I love it. So I can't really wait to get this out, and hopefully everybody likes it.
Yeah, looks like a lot of work.
Oh no, it definitely is a lot of work. It definitely is a lot of work. It definitely is.
All right.
All right.
Well, you guys, it's been almost more than 2 hours, so that's powerful live stream. I appreciate you guys supporting me too. Just got to say that. And next month, well, this month, no, June. We're in it right now. We're in it. Just so you guys know, I'm gonna start doing a lot more live streaming and stuff because I'm wrapping up the 3rd issue of Shapes, and hopefully I'll be able to get it wrapped up Monday or Tuesday. And then I'm gonna switch gears to work on trying to get Sithra ready for an Indiegogo campaign. And so I'll just be online all the time trying to promote it for the month of the campaign.
Can you just tell me real quick why you switched up?
I was gonna tell you.
I don't know exactly. I'm still not sure if it's the right idea, but many campaigns have been on Indiegogo in the last year that have been really
successful. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
comics. There's just a big community there that supports comics. And they do have a lot of cool features that Kickstarter doesn't have. So there's some things I'm going to try out. But also, I figure I have the Kickstarter audience already. So I can, send emails to the people on Kickstarter and to notify them that I have books. So I'm pretty sure I could get the people from Kickstarter to migrate to Indiegogo. But then, so I'll have that audience, and then I should be able to tap into a new audience with Indiegogo. And I kind of wanted to do it. The debate was, should I keep all of Sithra on Kickstarter, or should I should I use this last campaign as a means to like grow Indiegogo? You know, because if I launch a new book on Indiegogo, then all the people who backed Cithra don't really have a reason to transfer over. You know,
makes sense.
So those are some of my thoughts that they're kind of. I contacted Indiegogo and they're going to help me market it a little bit as well. So there's some perks that they are offering for me to try to get me on their platform, you know? So that's nice. And it seems like they're a lot more connected with their backers, their campaign runners, you know? Like Kickstarter's so big, it's like it kind of fall through the cracks now.
But in the beginning they were.
In the beginning, yeah, you could make a splash, but now, you know, Kickstarter's like, it's kind of big and it has a lot of other stuff that they're favoring besides comics. Whereas on Indiegogo, big comic campaigns, they get favored, you know, for whatever reason. So those are just some of my observations, and
cool.
It's really just an experiment, you know, another experiment to see what to do next. So, and if that works well, the goal that is to finish working on shapes before the end of the year, and then jump back onto Phobos and get like a 400 to 500 page book ready to do a campaign for early next year, like February or March. So that's the goal.
Steve, it's crazy.
I know it is, but you know what? It's I'm looking in, so it's amazing to me. Like,
I can't even keep up. Like, he'll come home and he'll talk to me about something, and I'm like, wait, which book are we talking about?
I don't even talk books with my wife no more. I'm like, how's your day? Yeah. I just give up. I was like, whatever.
I just delegate all that stuff.
Well, no, I'm not offering my basement for the other 20,000 books that are about to come trolling in at your house.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I made him get space outside of our home now because it's becoming a problem for me.
Having our garage full of books all the time.
Which we have a decent sized garage. Right. After a while, I was like, you know, like 8,000 books is a little bit too much for me right now. Like you need to start paying for some space.
Yeah. Well, I want to have that problem.
Yes, exactly.
I want to have that problem.
No, Steve, it was mostly about like, look, when it snows, I am not parking my car outside. So either the books go or something else has to change because I'm not parking my car outside.
That's why I'm moving somewhere where there's no snow. I'm done with the snow. I'm so done.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'll wrap this
up.
Jason,
thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Anthony.
Well, what was that in here? I heard
good to see you, Anthony.
Oh, good to see you too.
Anthony, we'll talk. We'll definitely talk. I got to get my book directly from you.
Yeah, man. Amazon, on Amazon.
No, I need mine signed. I need you to send me my book.
Yeah, I'm getting them.
We spoke on this.
We will. I'll get it out to you.
It's online.
All right. Yeah.
That book that you showed us, that's his.
All right, guys.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right. Bye. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.